Howdy ho, Andrew here. Welcome to the Onion Buns and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. So, for this episode, we're just going to stick in Edmonton. For anyone that knows me, it's no shocker. I am not a fan of the Edmonton Municipal government. I'm not. I think for a couple decades now, they've been screwing everything up just left, right, and center. And I really don't have much good to say about them. The final straw for me really was about 4 years ago when Sohi was elected. And that's actually not what I call him in public, but I'm trying to keep my videos PG. So we're just going to go with Sohi. And he stopped the trap, neuter, and release program because he said, we can't afford it. And then he jacked up property taxes to levels never before seen in Edmonton and gave himself a massive raise that at one point made him the highest paid mayor in Canada. But we can't afford to help the feral cats. Yeah, I didn't believe him either. So I was quite pleased when I heard the other day on the radio that apparently now that Sohi, again, I'm being polite, is running away from office, because let's be honest, he's not getting reelected, and he knows it. His approval rating is in the absolute crapper. So he's running away. Like most liberals, he's running and hiding. He made his millions. You know, Lord knows how much well, I'm not going to go there, but yeah, he's made his money. We'll just leave it at that. And now he's running away. But that's good for Edmonton. Hopefully that's good for Edmonton anyway. We'll see in the election. But I just heard on the radio that there's a group that is trying to get the next mayor and city council, whoever they are, to reinstate trap, neuter, and release because, to nobody's surprise, the feral community of cats, since the TNR was moved away, has skyrocketed. You know, I've heard different numbers. I've heard 70,000, 80,000, 100,000. I don't know which number is right. All I know is it's all because of Sohi. You know, that program should have never been defunded. And yeah, we're going to be paying or actually we don't pay for it. The poor animals pay for it. Like the statistics on a cat, if they're an indoor only cat, they live an average. That's an average of 15 years. Now, some will only leave 10 because of disease or whatever. You know, it happens. It happens to humans too. And others will go to 20, 22 because, well, good genes. And I'm not talking about the GEAN genes. Yeah, sorry, I had to throw that one in. But yeah, so they live to an average of 15 years. An indoor-outdoor cat. So if you're letting your cat outside, it actually only has a 5-year average lifespan because of traffic, coyotes, insane humans that don't like cats and poison them or torment them, you know, and just a host of other things that can happen when they're outside, out of your control. Like, if you want to let your cat outside, build a catio, people. It can go outside, but it's safe in a caged environment so that nothing can get at it. And you have it for those 15 to 20 years, hopefully. You know, but then there's the feral cats or the abandoned cats that don't find rehoming. They have a lifespan of less than 5 years on average. Like, they're not around for long because they're out there summer and winter. It's, you know, it's a horrible way to live. But unfortunately, with that amount of ferals, there's absolutely no way we can home them all. I actually just took in last fall a abandoned cat. So Fath, what I named him eventually, his name was originally Biscuit. He's one of the lucky ones. I saw him mousing in my yard. I took pictures of him, and he caught a couple mice, and that's what he ate, and he ran off. And I had taken a couple pictures of it, and I posted on Edmonton's Lost Cat. And, I had a person reply going, I think I just saw this cat in my yard. This was a few days later, and this was like 11, 12 blocks away from me. So it was like, okay, well, he's doing rounds in this area, but it appears like he didn't have a home. So I had said, well, if he comes back to my place, I'll catch him, put him in a crate, and take him for a free chip scan. And that's what I did. He came back to my yard 2 or 3 weeks later. And when I opened up the door, he tried to run into my house. So he wanted to be inside a house, and I caught him and I took him for a scan, and he had a microchip, and his name was Biscuit. And they tried to contact the owner, and they called her, I want to say 5 times over 4 days because it was a long weekend, and she never called them back. And then I went to the ACC, and they looked it up, and he had actually been licensed, and he was fixed, and he was microchipped, as we knew, but they tried contacting the person. He'd even been licensed for 1 year as a kitten. So they tried contacting through the license, and the person wasn't calling back. So Faf had been abandoned outside, and as near as I could tell, he's probably been outside for 2 years, and he had just had enough, and he wanted a home. So when he found me, and I was petting him and very friendly to him, he's a super affectionate cat. He just said, nope, I'm living here. And he tried to run in the house, and he's been with me ever since with my other 2 cats. But, he's one of the lucky ones. Most ferals and most abandoned cats never get rehomed. It's just the truth, So the best solution was to trap, neuter, release. You trap them, you neuter them, and you release them back into their colonies so they can't reproduce, but they get to live out their lives for however long that is. And that's one of the first things he did was he got rid of that. He very well might be one of the stupidest mares I've ever seen. And he's got strict competition, because I spent 20 years in Barrie, and I got to see Toronto mares, like they currently have Olivia Chow. And you want a brain dead mare? Go take a look at Olivia Chow, or what they got in Calgary right now. So he's got a lot of competition, but I think he might actually be the dumbest of the lot. So I was really happy to hear that there's at least a movement to bring the TNR back, because we need it. It's not fair to the cats. And it's not fair to humans either, because these cats, they're going to come into your garden. They're going to hunt. Like, I get a lot of birds in my yard, and the last thing I want is a cat in my yard killing those birds. Now, I don't get mad at the cats when they do it, because they're just trying to survive. So, I'm not going to get mad at them for doing it. But I don't want to see it. And if they're not reproducing, that's going to cut down on the population. So I was happy to hear that, but that's not what this video is about. What I wanted to talk about today is actually a positive. One of the few things I can say he actually did correctly. So he's on his way out. I'm going to give him props for one thing and one thing only. The other day I was driving, and I noticed over by Londonderry Mall, they've torn up the old sidewalks, and they're replacing them. Well, first off, they're building new sidewalks, but the sidewalks look to be 2 to 3 times as wide as what the old sidewalk was. And they've moved it off of the road. So the road, I was going down 66th Street and going past bus station, and you could see there's the cross out of Londonderry, and then there used to be a sidewalk there over to where the bus stops, and that was the sidewalk, and it was one of those narrow old-fashioned sidewalks right up against the road curb, so if you stepped off it, you're falling into traffic. Well, they've taken that away, and now you got about, I'm going to say about 2 meters of grass off of the curb, and then you got the widened sidewalk. So right off the bat, it's a billion times safer. But what I'm thinking, and I have no evidence of this, I'm thinking here, because you don't want scooters and bicycles on 66th Street. You don't. That is accidents waiting to happen. Now, let's be honest, you don't see very many bicycles even in summer. Maybe down on White Ave you do, in that whole university mentality. But outside of that, you really don't see a lot of bikes here and there. You know, once in a while you see one or here, one there. But, you know, this whole making bike lanes for these people so that one bike can use the road that day is ridiculous. It's such a waste of space. It's a waste of taxpayer money. So what I'm hoping is the reason for the wide sidewalk is so they can put a center line down the sidewalk, and bikes and scooters and, you know, skateboards and all those can use the sidewalk, because you have enough room to go down while another person's coming down. You know, you're not like the old sidewalks, you'd be fighting for space. It made sense not to have the bikes on the sidewalks because there was no space there. If you had people walking there, pushing a baby carriage or something, there was no room. You had to go off of the sidewalk, which, depending on the weather or whatever, could cause its own problems. Or you had to go on the road, and then you're contending with traffic. You know, and I'm sorry, a bicycle against a motor vehicle, the bicycle is going to lose every single time. I think it's absolutely insane to try to push bicycles onto the road with vehicles. I really do. So I am hoping that the reason for these extra wide sidewalks is for the bicycles and the skateboards and the scooters and, you know, the pedestrians. You know, you all have room and you're not being crammed there. So there's going to be no accidents or run-ins there. You got the room and you could just go and you're safe. And if that really is the concept behind it, I say huge thumbs up. It's about time somebody in frickin' City Hall used some common sense and logic. It really is. And yeah, they're going, I saw they're going all the way from 137 down 66 to, I think it went past 158 actually. Maybe it came short of, I'm not 100% sure, but in that area. So it was a big stretch. But if they do this everywhere around the city, there's our problem solved. Fantastic. So huge thumbs up. And I'm showing you pictures and video above, so you're seeing it. And, you know, they're still doing construction on it, so it's obviously not a finished product and doesn't have the lines painted or anything. But you can see how wide it is. And I think this is a great idea. And I think getting them off of the being next to the roadway, because especially like I used to ride a skateboard when I was a kid. And I know modern day skateboards are so much more advanced than what I had. Like when I was a kid, the minute I hit a pebble, I was going for a trip. Well, with the sidewalk right next to the road, that trip could send me out into traffic. Now, if I'm like 2-3 meters over inside, that trip, okay, I might scrape my knee or something, or maybe get grass burn if I land on the grass, but I'm not in traffic. And that's a good thing. That's a great thing, actually. So it's about time somebody in City Hall used some frickin' common sense and logic, and I support this 1,000%. This is a great idea. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I will be very interested to see if my expectations meet the reality or if they find some way to screw this up too. Because I don't put anything past this City Hall. Maybe they can spend another couple million on steel balls. Anyway. But yeah, so that's my Let's Talk. I just, you know, I bitch about the municipal government because I don't have much good to say about the Edmonton Municipal government. And I haven't for a lot of years. Which is ironic. When I left Edmonton in 98, overall, like there was a couple of nut bars, like Tucker Gomberg, I think his name was. He wanted to flood the city streets in the winter so everyone could skate to work. And he was being serious, people. Like, go look it up. He was being serious. Like, he took it to a vote, I believe. But, you know, we had a few nut bars like that. But overall, I think the city government was good. But then I left out east for 20 years and I came back, and for the last 8 years, I've just been shaking my head at what I'm seeing. It's like, are you people like, I know Trudeau made weed legal, but I think these guys are stoned at work half the time, maybe 3/4 of the time with the decisions they make. It's just asinine. It's stupid, you know? So anyway, that's my video. I noticed that and I love it. And I hope my expectation turns into reality on it, because I think that's a win for everybody. That's a win for the pedestrians. That's a win for the bike riders. That's a win for the skateboarders, the scooters. That's a win for the motorists, you know, and yeah, it's just a win across the board if it works out the way I've been describing it, because everybody's safer. And isn't that what we want at the end? Like, let's get rid of the politics, the ideologies. Don't we just want everyone to be safer? I want the people to be safer. I want the cats to be safer. You know? And that's what this video really was about. Let's just make everyone and everything safer. Seems pretty simple to me, but unfortunately nowadays simple and logical doesn't mean that's the route that gets taken. So anyway, that's my video for today. If you like the video, please leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. I really do. Always feel free to leave a comment. I encourage everybody to leave a comment. Not only does it get us interacting, but it really does help me with the YouTube algorithm in getting more eyes on my videos. And as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.